Every ancient civilization that ever existed, the Egyptians, the Sumerians, the Chinese, the Greeks, the Aztec civilizations that never met, cultures separated by oceans, by deserts, by thousands of years, they shared almost nothing. Different gods, different languages, different worlds, but they all described the same monster, a creature of fire and shadow, cave scales and wings and ancient wrath. They all feared it, and they all left a warning. Welcome to Mythic Origins, where we explore the stories humanity was never supposed to forget. Today, we are stepping into one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in all of human history. Not a mystery about a lost city, not a mystery about a missing artifact, a mystery about a creature so deeply embedded in the human imagination that it appears on every continent, in every age, in every culture that ever built a civilization, the dragon. Now, before you think you know where this is going, stop. This is not a fairy tale. This is not a fantasy. This is an archaeological, anthropological, and historical investigation into why, across all of recorded human history, our ancestors all dreamed the same nightmare, and why some researchers believe that nightmare was real. Let us start with the facts, the uncomfortable, undeniable facts. In ancient Mesopotamia, the cradle of human civilization, the Sumerians wrote about a creature they called the Usumgalu, a terrifying serpent dragon, a creature of chaos and primordial darkness. The Babylonians built upon that legend and gave us Tiamat, the great dragon mother of the void, the creature the god Marduk had to slay before the world itself could be created. Across the ancient world in Egypt, the great serpent Apep, also known as Apophis, was said to lurk beneath the earth, eternally trying to swallow the sun and plunge all existence into darkness. Ancient Egyptian priests performed rituals every single night to keep Apep imprisoned. Not once a year, every single night. Now travel east, to ancient China, completely isolated from the Middle East, where the Chinese dragon was one of the most sacred symbols in all of recorded history. But here is where it gets strange. The Chinese dragon is not exactly the same creature as the Mesopotamian dragon, and yet it is unmistakably related serpentine body, enormous power, associated with water, sky, and the primordial forces of creation. In India, the ancient Vedic texts, among the oldest written documents humans have ever produced, speak of the Vritra, a vast dragon serpent that held back the cosmic waters until the warrior god Indra shattered it. In ancient Greece, it was the Hydra, the Typhon, the Ladon, all dragon-like entities guarding sacred places, hoarding power, threatening the gods themselves. And on the other side of the planet, in Mesoamerica, the Aztecs worshipped Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent god, part dragon, part deity. The Mayans had Kukulkan, the same creature, different name. The Norse had Jormungandr, the world serpent so vast it could encircle the entire earth and bite its own tail. Ask yourself, how is this possible? How do civilizations with zero contact with each other all independently invent the same monster? Historians, archaeologists, and evolutionary scientists have spent decades wrestling with this question, and the theories that have emerged are, each in their own way, deeply unsettling. Theory 1. The fossil record. This is perhaps the most grounded theory, and it deserves to be taken seriously. Ancient peoples regularly encountered massive fossil bones jutting from cliffs and riverbeds. They had no concept of paleontology, no understanding of extinct species. What they saw were the bones of enormous creatures with giant skulls, long necks, massive jaws, dinosaur fossils, mosasaur fossils, massive prehistoric predators whose remains have been found in virtually every region on Earth. According to this theory, which has serious scholarly support, our ancestors looked at those bones and reached the only logical conclusion available to them. Something monstrous once lived here, and perhaps it still does. Theory 2. Evolutionary memory. This one goes deeper, darker. Some evolutionary psychologists, and this is a theory, not a proven fact, suggest that the human brain carries what they call a deep predator response. For millions of years, Our pre-human ancestors were hunted by enormous reptiles, by massive snakes, by creatures with scales, claws, and the patience of cold-blooded predators. The theory suggests that the fear of the dragon is not a cultural invention. It is a survival instinct, encoded into human DNA across hundreds of thousands of generations, a memory so ancient it predates language itself. When the Sumerians dreamed of the dragon, they were not inventing a story, they were remembering a warning. Theory 3, a real creature. Now, Kaz, before we go further, this is a theory. A minority theory, but one that responsible researchers have not entirely dismissed. Some cryptozoologists and fringe historians have pointed to the possibility that large, unknown reptilian megafauna survived into the early historical period and perhaps in isolated regions. Most mainstream scientists consider this highly unlikely. But the consistency of the descriptions across civilizations that never communicated continues to raise uncomfortable questions. But here is the part of this story that most historians quietly gloss over. The dragon was not just feared, it was worshipped. In ancient China, the emperor himself was called the son of the dragon. His throne was the dragon throne. His face was the dragon face. In Mesopotamia, kings claimed to draw their power directly from the great dragon gods. The Aztec rulers dressed as Quetzalcoatl. The feathered serpent was not just a monster, it was the source of civilization itself. The ancient Egyptians did not simply fear Apep, they also revered Set, a god who partly embodied the chaotic, destructive power of the serpent. In ancient Europe, before Christianity reshaped the continent's mythology, the dragon was not always evil. It was often the guardian, the keeper of sacred knowledge, the warden of the underworld. Something profound happened across history. When the monotheistic religions rose to dominance, first in the Middle East, then spreading across the world, they systematically transformed the dragon. What had once been a chaotic but sacred force became pure evil. The dragon became the devil, the serpent in the garden, the beast that must be slain, Saint George and the dragon, Sigurd and Fafnir, the archangel Michael casting down the great serpent. A creature that had been both feared and revered for 10,000 years was suddenly recast as the ultimate enemy. Why? Some historians, and this is scholarly debate, not conspiracy, suggest that the dragon represented the old religion, the old power, the nature cults and earth worship that preceded the new order. To defeat the dragon was, symbolically, to defeat the old world, to claim dominion over it. There is one more layer to this mystery that is rarely discussed. Physical evidence, not of the dragons themselves, but of the bones that inspired them. In China, for thousands of years, fossilized bones were ground up and sold as dragon bones, powerful medicine. The larger the bone, the more powerful the cure. Chinese physicians were literally prescribing ground-up dinosaur fossils as medicine well into the 20th century. In the West, in 1335, a farmer near the city of Klagenfurt in what is now Austria reportedly discovered a massive, unfamiliar skull in a riverbank. The skull was displayed publicly for over a century before a scientist finally identified it. It was the skull of a woolly rhinoceros, an extinct Ice Age megafauna. But that skull became the basis for local dragon legends that persisted for generations. In ancient Greece, massive fossil beds in the desert regions of what is now Turkey and Central Asia yielded enormous bones. Bones of prehistoric horses, hipparions, and large mammals that ancient travelers interpreted as evidence of mythological battles between gods and giants. And in the American Southwest, indigenous oral traditions speak of terrifying serpent creatures associated with dried riverbeds and rocky canyon walls, and the same places where paleontologists today find some of the richest dinosaur fossil deposits in the world. The earth was whispering, and our ancestors were listening. So what do we do with all of this? What does it mean that every civilization, every single one, looked up at the sky, down into the dark water, into the shadows of the ancient earth, and saw the same thing? Maybe it is fossils. Maybe it is evolutionary memory. Maybe it is something we have not yet found the courage to fully investigate. But consider this. We live in an age of satellites and sonar and deep-sea submersibles. We have mapped nearly every corner of the planet. And yet, in the last 50 years, science has discovered creatures it never knew existed. The colossal squid, the giant oarfish. There are species of shark, the megamouth, that somehow eluded all of human science until 1976. The ocean alone remains more mysterious than the surface of Mars. Our ancestors did not have science. They had only their eyes, their bones, and their terror. And for 10,000 years, they agreed on one thing, something ancient, something powerful, something that defied the boundaries of the known world, was real. Perhaps the most disturbing possibility is not that the dragon never existed. Perhaps the most disturbing possibility is that our ancestors knew something we have forgotten. The bones are still in the ground, the warnings are still written on the walls, and somewhere in the deep places of this world, the fear remains. If you want more stories from humanity's forgotten past, subscribe to Mythic Origins. Every episode goes deeper into the mysteries that history left behind. The truth is older than you think.